Welcome to the Enterprise University. In the first part of this exercise, we will learn how to install the server component of the Enterprise Suite application on a server machine. The server component consists of several subcomponents: the demo database, business service, postal code values, shopping cart, eShop connector, and email service manager. When installing in any server or workstation, we have the option to include or exclude any or all server components. In the first part of this exercise, we learned how to install the client component on a workstation. Later, we will demonstrate how to install the client components in the workstation machine and how to install both components on the same machine. We are assuming that this is the first time you are installing. We are also assuming that you have checked for the hardware requirements and have installed the software prerequisites prior to installing the server components. Note that the installer will detect the missing software components, then download and install them afterwards. We discussed the system requirements needed in the server component installation in the previous exercise. We will simulate installing the server component of Enterprise Suite for the first time. On the server machine, run the Enterprise Suite installer. The installer will verify its content and will detect missing prerequisites in the machine, if any. When prompted to install the missing prerequisites, continue with the wizard setup and the installer will connect to the internet to download and install the requirements. After this, we may proceed with the installation. Click Next to continue. In the next page, we may review or copy the licensing agreement. As a precaution, we are reminded to close all application before continuing. Then click the checkbox to accept the terms of licensing. Click Next to continue. We are provided a list of components to install, the client and the server components. We can choose to include both components to install on the server. For this example, we will install just the server components. Under the server components, we will find several subcomponents to install. We will describe briefly what each component is used for. First is the database components that contains the demo database used to run the Enterprise Suite application for the first time use, and the model database for new company database creation. We normally do not see the model database from the options, but this database is created along with the demo database. This is a required component and must be installed locally on the server machine. When installing, choose the databases, select the database component under server component, then set the installer to install only the selected feature. We may optionally include the other components, otherwise they may be installed later. The business server component allows the connection of remote clients to the server via internet. To successfully install the web service component, we need to have Internet Information Services installed and running in the server machine. After installing the business service, it must be configured to enable the workstation to connect to the database through internet. We will discuss configuration of the web service in the next lesson. The postal code component includes additional postal code values for Canada and Australia. The email service component automates the sending and retrieving of messages from the email server to the company database and sending mass emails to its respective target list. After installing the email service component, we will configure the email service through the email service manager. We will discuss email service manager configuration in the email and fax lesson of the CRM module course. The e-commerce component includes the contents for the e-commerce website and live chat for website chat support. After installing the e-commerce component, it must be configured to enable the web store connection to the database. We will discuss this more in the web store setup and configuration in the e-commerce module course. The eShop Connect component enables the e-commerce component to connect with other shopping cart solutions or a global marketplace. To enable this functionality, we will need to speak with a Larian company representative. After installing the eShop Connect, we will need to configure it in the Internet Information Services. We will discuss this more in the Webster setup and configuration in the e-commerce module course. In this simulation, we will install all the server components. Let's set the installer to install the entire feature and include all components. Click Next to continue. We will be asked where to put the installation files that will be downloaded. On the download path field, we can browse or paste the directory or location in the machine where we want to install the component. Click Next to continue. In the next page, we will be asked to provide the SQL Server instance where the server components will be installed. Note that remote installation of server components is not allowed, so we can only connect to the server instance installed locally on the server machine. We may not select a server instance that runs on another machine. We can let the Enterprise Suite installer download and install SQL Server if we have not done so before installing Enterprise Suite. Note that download and installation of the SQL Server application might take a few minutes. Previously, we have installed the SQL Server application on the machine with the primary instance. We can choose to use this instance, or we can create a new named instance on the server. In this example, we will use the default instance we created previously in the server machine. We will connect to the server instance using the authentication method we provided. Note that the server components can only be installed in the SQL Server instance in the machine where the installation is running from. Connecting to a remote database on a server or any machine over the network is not allowed. Click Next button to continue. If we choose to install the business service component, the next step will be setting up the web service. We will be asked to install the web service on the local host of the workstation computer. By default, this is set to the default website running on the Internet Information Services. We can choose another website to install the web services to, given that the website exists and runs in the Internet Information Services of the same machine. Click Next to continue. Once the installer detects the website to install the web services, we will be brought to the next page. Otherwise, we need to check if Internet Information Services is installed and running or that the website we provided exists. In the next page, we will be asked to set the name of the Start menu group and if the desktop shortcut will be created for all users or only the current user in the workstation. Click Next to continue. Click Next to proceed with the installation. At this point, the installer will begin downloading components and install them on the machine. We will be prompted on every progress and any error encountered in the download and installation. After installing the server components, the next step is to install the client components on the workstation machines, then configure access of users from different workstations to the server and application files. We will discuss this in detail in the next lesson. Thank you for watching. In the next part of this exercise, we will learn how to install the client component on the workstation machine.